Next up, we have Emma and Loanda. I hope I pronounced that right. So we're going to bring you both in now, Emma. Here we go. There's Emma and Loanda. Loanda, make sure. Okay. Bringing you both in there. Hopefully. Yeah, brilliant. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the wait. Thanks so much for joining us today. So here we have Dr. Emma Coyle, who's Assistant Professor in Sustainable and Manufacturing Engineering here in DCU, and Loanda Kumba.
We're both the School of Chemical Sciences.
Oh, right, okay. So I was reading your profile wrong. Sorry about that. School of Chemical Sciences. Yes, of course, the lecture today is Chemistry with Artificial Intelligence, which is another great specialism here that you can come in through Chemical Sciences General Entry. And I've heard your talk before, Emma, so I know how great it is and interesting, and you're so passionate about the whole subject. So I'm going to let you get on with it. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And I'll just put myself on mute.
Okay, thanks a million, Colette, and thanks to everybody who's joined us today. I know we're running a little behind schedule, so hopefully the chemistry enthusiasts have stayed and don't defect to biotechnology. Although if you have been here for the chemistry talk and you've watched Greg's, you'll at least have a feel for the general ethos of our teaching innovation, our assessment innovation, and our motivation to work more with industry, because that's common across these new streams that are being developed in the Faculty of Science and Health. So those general themes are very common across our two disciplines. So I'm going to give you a small bit of information about Chemical Sciences General Entry Programme, because it's through that programme that you access chemistry with artificial intelligence. Now, I'm going to attempt to use a VBox poll, which I haven't done before, but maybe some participants might find it interesting to try out. So my hope is you can now see my VBox poll, and you could potentially use the QR code here at the side, or you can type into your browser vvox.app and use the ID so that you can join the VBox. And it just allows you to provide some feedback. Just I have 2 text-based surveys and 1 just select an answer, and that you'll be able to participate and kind of give a little bit of feedback in what you understand about the course and what you visualize when you think about chemistry with artificial intelligence, what you're kind of picturing for your future if this is something that that you proceed with. So I'm going to open the poll. My hope is that you'll still be able to see the QR code if you want to join. It will open. So just a simple choice. The course is Chemistry with Artificial Intelligence. And I'm wondering, what one word would you most associate with that then? What would you think of first, as this is going to be a course in whatever? So I see now there's only 1 participant register here at the moment, but we can have a little look and see what you. So I'll give you a couple of moments to join the survey, and then I'll flick back to it in a minute. So I'm just going to go on to my first PowerPoint, my next PowerPoint site, and that's the summary of the courses that we have from Chemical Sciences General Entry. So what we have in our General Entry, and maybe Greg mentioned it too, is that actually all of our first year programs, all of our chemistry ones do the same entry, and a very large amount of that overlaps with the general entry into biological sciences too. Can I post the link? Loanda, could you type into the chat the link for the VBox if you don't mind? So it's vvox.app.
Just 1 second, Emma.
That's fine. I'll just leave it there because that would be handy if people can join it. And then we'll flick back to that in a moment. So saying about our general entry anyway. So chemistry and biology, we have a very common first year anyway. And our chemical sciences program, in addition to the general entry program, we have our chemical and pharmaceutical sciences program. So that's our chemistry-based program. We have analytical science-based program. So that's chemistry meets biology. And then we have this new course that we're just advertising now, and that's our Chemistry with AI course. So Chemistry with AI, we've had our first intake this September just gone, but because it's a course that begins in second year, so our common entry people select to go into it in second year, it means that we don't have any Chemistry with AI student to speak to you at the panel today. So instead, one of our general entry and science students is going to be available for the Q&A at 5:30 to 6. So if you want to meet with that student or chat with that student later, it would be a nice chance to hear their experience. And I'm just going to check before I change back to the slides. Luanda, do you have the ID code? If you could just type that in there too, in case people need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 195-4.
195, yes.
-482-591.
Oh, okay, is this one here?
Okay, so hopefully that will work then. We'll come back to it in a moment. Okay, so there are the programs, and you can see chemistry with artificial intelligence. You can actually enter it from chemical and pharmaceutical science or from analytical science. So because of the common first year, if you're in the course and you thought you really wanted to do AC, so that's the chemical and pharmaceutical, but you can move into AI at the end of first year if you so desire. So there's flexibility within our entry into chemical sciences programs. So our first year then, as I've said, it's common. We have a mix of lecture tutorials and labs. And like Greg mentioned, we're looking at stepping away from the lecturer stands in front of you and just gives you the information to really encouraging active participation in your learning so that you're able to do things like discussion forums where you do a little bit of research, or you have some virtual lab simulations that support your in-lab. And we have lots of supports. DCU is very supportive. So when you go to the panel later, you'll hear from our existing students and different supports they found to ease that transition from second level to third level. And there we have like a nice size chemical sciences school. So the courses are quite like supportive, quite community based, and that, and of course loads of clubs and societies. So the buzz at DCU is pretty good, as well as the disciplinary knowledge of chemistry with AI. And of course, we're very proud of our entry placements. Greg mentioned them as well. So we have all of our chemical sciences programs have a 6-month industry placement in the third year. And as part of our new program development, we've brought on additional industry partners. So ones that have identified they'd really like to have some chemists with AI experience come into their internships. So it's a very nice aspect that we like to like our students think about. And DCU has 95% employment rate for graduates 6 months after graduation. So it's a very, very high rate as well. So I'll flick back to the VBox and we'll have a little quick look. So brilliant. I am so glad to see that everyone thinks chemistry first, because it can be a bit of a miscomprehension that the course is very computing based. I was here in the School of Chemical Sciences because there's first and foremost a chemistry degree, and you're just supplementing your skills in chemistry with applying it through AI and machine learning. So that's great. So people who are here have reasonable expectation of what lies ahead. I'm really, really glad to hear that. So we'll just go on then. We have a small little diagram just comparing our courses. So we can have a quick look. So all of our courses are chemistry first, and then all of them have data acquisition, analysis, working with it, because as a chemist, one of the things you will do is you'll generate data, you'll interpret that data, and you will make inferences from that data. And just within our programs then, our chemical and pharmaceutical focuses on pharmaceutical, analytical science has a blend with biology, and AI, we're looking at artificial intelligence, but we're still applying it to chemical challenges, environmental, pharmaceutical, materials. These are all really big emerging areas for AI. So obviously your CAO students, you're thinking ahead to what do you need for entry. So you need to have a maths requirement in O3 or H6 and a minimum of 1 science. So you don't actually have to have done chemistry to come into our chemistry programs, simply any of the science subjects, chemistry, physics, biology, physics with chemistry, or ag science even. And it may be worth bearing in mind, or perhaps some of the biologists are still here, is that there's limited exposure to chemistry in the junior cert cycle. It really doesn't get into all the many faceted areas of chemistry. You never know, students that come into first year, because they do this common with some chemistry, some biology, some physics, and a bit of maths, they find then they learn about areas of each of these disciplines that they never knew existed. So you could find that when you enter a general entry program, something you never knew about before could strike your fancy. And so you may find yourself pursuing chemistry even though you had never anticipated that you would. So looking then at our course, so I just have a second VBox question. Again, I'll leave it open for a little while, just to have a little check. I'm going to stop that one. So the next one, so this is an open text one. What do you think of when you hear chemistry with artificial intelligence? So something beyond chemistry and computing. Where are you thinking that you might be applying it? What do you think you might be doing as a chemist with artificial intelligence? So I'm going to obviously continue showing you the slides and chatting a small bit about it. But if you want to put in your first impressions, that would be really nice. So thinking about it, is this course for me? What kind of things would you like? So obviously you need to have an interest in chemistry, and then we will introduce you to the computing that's relevant. The computing is only a small strand of the overall chemistry degree, and we're looking then at application. So where can we apply our knowledge of artificial intelligence and machine learning? Well, then we're looking at, like I've said, pharmaceutical, environmental, and materials in particular. These are really big emerging areas for this discipline. So your chemist with specialization in AI is going to use the power of AI for looking for new molecules. So they can be medicines, they can be materials, and all of these things are leading to new innovations for the future. And a small example that we put in, it's quite topical still, is that the use of AI was really beneficial in getting through the COVID pandemic. So being able to very rapidly predict what existing molecules might show activity against this new virus. So we have loads and loads of data about lots and lots of existing molecules that have shown potential as drugs or are drugs that are on the market. So being able to use the AI to distill this information very rapidly allowed us to bring medications and vaccines to the market very quickly. So it's just one example. It's quite relatable at the moment. So I'm going to flick back to the survey and see, hopefully we might have a few responses. Let's see. Okay, so we got one, thank you. So using machine learning, yes, and applying that to learning the fundamentals of chemistry, that is really fantastic. It's like possibly a Luanda wrote that, it's lovely. So yes, that's exactly it, because you're going to have the foundations of chemistry. You're going to know organic, analytical, physical, inorganic chemistry. You're going to understand the structure of molecules and the atoms. And yeah, you're able to apply then using machine learning to distill that data. So that's really excellent, but it all really hinges on your knowledge of chemistry first. Okay. So Greg mentioned the DCU Futures ideas. They're looking at teaching differently, assessing differently, embedding more empowerment for the students. So I won't go on about it too much. I'll just give you a very quick look at the schematic. We're looking at beyond our discipline knowledge, the chemistry, the AI. We're looking at developing you, the graduate from DCU, and your versatility in your career ahead. So how do you think? How do you approach a problem? How do you get over an obstacle? So we kind of give you ways of thinking, ways of working, tools to help you work, and then what we call the tools for thriving. They're the interpersonal things that make you a more resilient person and make you better able to tackle challenges that come up in your future workplace. So it's just to look beyond just disciplinary knowledge to really support your personal growth throughout your graduate or your studies as well. So I'm on to what might slightly boring bit, maybe, in that it's just 4 slides with tables, but it's to talk about what content is in the course. So you can see I've mentioned several times about first year being general. We do chemistry, we do biology, do physics, mathematics. So I've just flagged here where we do some kind of changes in how we teach and how we deliver. So we have some blended delivery. There'll be some online, plenty of on-campus things Then we'll have our labs in chemistry, biology, and physics. So practical work is really, really important for our courses. We've always prided ourselves on how much practical experience our students have. And then we have an interdisciplinary science module, which is actually co-taught with the biology module. And we use this one for the kind of developing your skills outside of your discipline. So you have a hackathon where you're given a real world challenge. So this year we're going to be looking at things like climate change, plastics in the environment, challenges for water globally. And we've added a new program called Career Visioning. So across the 4 years of the program, we encourage you to think about your career and career readiness, identifying pathways you might like to take, actions that would help you get where you want to go, and kind of food for thought about your prospect in the future, thinking ahead to Intra. In second year, now I put in draft because our approval meeting is next week, but this is what the content will be for second year. You see we have one biology module, we have 2 mathematics modules, so they're at the bottom, and we have 1 computing module, the first introduction to programming. So the rest of our modules are all chemistry modules. So you can see, get a feel for how much chemistry versus how much computing and how much mathematics. And I would say our mathematics is done through mastery learning. So that is, we know people can come in on an O3 or on a H6, and they may worry, oh, but I'm not really strong at maths. Like I don't love maths, I just do maths. And that's absolutely fine because we know that. And we've accepted that this is the level that is suitable to enter our course. And we have a very supportive learning way. So previously exams would be the main way of assessing mathematics. But we've moved now to a continuous assessment model where just trying to build up your strengths as you go and then move on to the next topic. So you master one and then begin the next topic. So it's quite a supportive way to learn mathematics and hopefully will alleviate that worry you might have. And the same thing people would say, but I don't really know much about computers. And that's fine because we don't expect you to know loads about computers. You only start in second year with programming and it's an introduction. It's quite a nice pitch to start at. We don't have any prior expectations and it builds up then. So in second and third year, you'll do advanced programming and you'll start with your first machine learning. So actually applying using AI to distill data. And then we have plenty of applied chemistry modules. We start looking at materials in organometallics and polymer chemistry. We look at medicinal chemistry for drug design in medicinal chemistry. We look at regulation of the pharmaceutical or chemical environments and some data analysis. So we're building the picture towards applied chemistry rather than fundamental chemistry in third year. We have our Intra, which is something we really look forward to, and lots of preparatory modules getting ready for Intra. Then in fourth year, our kind of top thing for fourth year is the research project. So you spend the second semester working on your research project. And these for chemistry with AI, they will contain some AI parts as well. They'll be housed within School of Chemical Sciences or within our industry partners. So there's lots of potential for going lots of different directions in your research. So there's loads of opportunities for chemists, and I've just added a tile here about chemistry with AI. So you could still work just like people from chemical and pharmaceutical sciences in drug design and discovery and in the pharmaceutical industry. You can also extend into materials, data analytics and process. So like Greg outlined for the biotechnology, looking a little bit more at the process area rather than the fundamentals area. And then you can go on to further study in research as well. So that's the summary of the course, just to get a feel for what would be involved. So we're going to hand over to Luanda so that she can give the demonstration of chemistry with artificial intelligence in action. So I'll move along quickly.
Okay, let me share these slides. Just a minute.
And students, if you want to pin any questions in the chat so I can get my answers ready while Luanda does the demonstration, that would be great too.
Hi everyone, I'm going to give you some idea how chemistry and machine learning, artificial intelligence works. And to give you this idea, I would like to bring it up problem that we are facing right now and in the past and probably in the future, that is the plastic waste. And the waste system that we currently have is fundamentally flawed. And according to the EPA, only 38% of the waste in Ireland is recycled. And Ireland faces a significant challenge to meet the EU standards for recycling targets set for 2025 to 2035. And now let's see, with that said, let's see how chemistry and machine learning and robotics can solve the plastic sorting crisis. But before going into this matter, I would like to show you how a recycling system works. First, we have the collection, and after that, we go through the sorting, the shredding, the washing, melting and extrusion, and finally, the finished pellets. Okay, and my question for you is how we can improve the recycle system, how we can improve this recycling system. Can we improve the collection? Absolutely. We have a huge fault in this problem of recycling. First, we should do this in a better way in our houses. We should go through the recycling of materials in a more efficient way. But today I'm going to talk about chemistry and machine learning. Absolutely, we are going to talk about sorting. And how the sorting works right now. In most companies in the whole world, the sorting is manually. People works in this sorting of plastics that are going to be recycled. And visually, they have to look and see and tell you this plastic is recyclable, this plastic is not recyclable. And this is problematic because as we don't have an accurate system to do the sorting right now. But we are developing one. We are looking forward to have one in the future. This can improve from, let's say, in Ireland, for 38% of recycling of materials to, let's say, at least 80% of these plastics can be recycled. One company in the USA is testing some of these new ideas, mixing chemistry with AI, and they got 85% of the plastics recycled. But before showing you how we can solve and try to solve this problem, I would like to show you how this works in chemistry and point it out that a chemist that knows how to work with machine learning and how to use an AI, an artificial intelligence, it's a must nowadays. And for example, here, I have some spectrum of the diamond, using diamond ATR analysis. Here I have a spectrum of polypropylene where I run in an equipment and another one that I predicted using a database. The idea of chemistry with AI in DCU is that you're going to be a chemist. You're going to have ideas and know how to use machine learning and artificial intelligence to provide a better understanding of the data and to predict and simulate the development of new materials, for example. In this case, what the researchers did, they got 1,000 to 2,000 samples of different plastics. They run ATR analysis. They created a database where now they can detect and also predict if that plastic is recyclable or not. Another advantage and another advance in the ATR spectra is that you can detect even if the plastic is black, or if it's a clear type of plastic. And this is another problematic thing, because a black plastic has carbon, and this can interfere and interact with the final results. But how this works? We can move from presumption to certainty. We can move from manual separation of the recyclable materials for robots doing the separation. But let's be clear, you're not going to develop a robot. You're not a mechanical engineer. You're not going to study to develop the software as well. You are going to be able to analyze the materials. You're going to be able to acquire the data, to understand the data, treat the data, create a database. In collaboration with a software engineer or a mechanical engineer, you're going to move a step forward in the process of creating an algorithm or a method, a model. And in this case here, as an example, we have this robot that is looking to the plastic, as you can see. On the eyes of the robot has an ATR instrument that is going to acquire the spectrum, and the software will compare the acquired spectrum with the database, and it's going to show if that plastic is recyclable or not. This is the idea of how chemistry and AI can be connected. And we have many other examples of this, but today I would just highlight the recyclable system. But of course, we can apply for predict new materials in the future, heterosynthesis analysis, heterosynthesis prediction as well, reaction analysis can be done by machine learning and artificial intelligence. And this is something huge in pharmaceutical companies, because they would like to move from the trial to error to more accurate type of analysis. What they are doing right now is that they are predicting what is going to be the outcome, and they are moving forward from that point on. Okay, that's what I would like to talk to you today, and good luck with your CAO choices and the studies in the future. Hope to see you again. If you have any questions, please pop them in the chat.
That's great. I'm going to just open up the last question I have for
okay.
As well, Luanda. So this question then hopefully will come up on people's devices now. I've just activated it. Has your understanding of the Bachelor of Science in Chemistry with Artificial Intelligence changed now that you've heard more? And if yes, in what way? It's just a free text one as well. So we'd like to hear if maybe you had some different perception that has changed, or if what you've seen on the internet and in our perspective has adequately prepared you. So any questions, then pop them into the chat. We're really happy to talk about the course and give some insight into what lies ahead. Is material science covered in the chemistry general entry? So material science is touched upon in first year, but we would consider it more an application. You have to know the fundamentals first. So you'll do organic and you'll do inorganic, which are synthesis-based subjects, and they'll kind of lay the foundation for all the materials that you come across. So our inorganics are all semiconductors, components for in phones, things like this. The organics then, it's everything that makes up the human body. It's your drug molecules for the most part. There are plenty of inorganic cancer therapeutics. So it builds over time, but definitely the foundations of material sciences are laid from first year. Is there an entry on this? Yes, there is an entry on this. And what type of placements could you likely be completing? So we already have connections with lots of the big companies. I think Luanda maybe might give some insight in that, because she's quite active in identifying careers for this.
Yes, Emma, this is a great question. We are talking with Accenture right now, and any other possibilities are rising. For example, we have been talking as well with Meta I have been talking with Meta. It's a possibility. They are opening new job advertisements right now, and they are looking for interns. Another company would be Pfizer. The Ipsen also works with chemistry and AI. Pharmaceutical companies, they are looking for people that has chemistry as the first background and that has knowledge in machine learning and AI. Yeah. Oh, and also, sorry, just one last point. If you're not looking, for example, in the future to work in industry, but you would like to move to research, right now in Ireland, we have 3 different universities that can offer research using chemistry and AI, but DCU is the only one that has the degree, the bachelor degree.
Okay, I see Jake has asked, will you still learn most of the fundamentals of chemistry in this course? And I think it's fair to say, yes, you'll learn all the fundamentals of chemistry in this course. So you will cover organic, inorganic, analytical, and physical. A lot of our courses are common across our 3 chemistry programs in first and second year. So you'll have all the same foundation. It's when we come to these kind of intra preparation modules in third year, your specially dedicated third year laboratory modules, and then into fourth year, when you're into the kind of advanced topics, that's when they start to branch more and when you'll be applying differently. When is the Spring Open Day and how do I register? The Spring Open Day is in April. It's either the 2nd or the 4th of April.
The 2nd, Emma.
Oh, thank you very much. So the 2nd of April.
If you go on to our CAO hub page, so that's dcu.ie/CAO, there's a link there that you can register through.
Brilliant. And I really recommend coming to that because we're actually talking about it yesterday ourselves. We're going to have an Oculus for trying out at the Chemistry with AI stand. So very excited about that. So you can get a little bit of a virtual experience of chemistry as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I
think that's it now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Listen,
So
Emma and Luanda, that was absolutely excellent. So thank you so much for that. And so interesting. And it's just it's so needed, I suppose, the machine learning aspect of artificial intelligence. And it's just, again, I'll talk about the data and how important it is to be able to generate it and, you know, to get some, you know, to interpret the data, etc. So it's just another great course that we're offering here. And I just want to say thank you so much for your very insightful presentation. So, and the great questions as well.
Thanks
so
to nice
engagements.
Yes.
Yeah, nice engagement.
Thanks so much. Really, really great. So get in touch and hopefully see you at the Spring Open Day.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.